Hey, hello, what's up everyone? In this video I'm going to teach you about Rahu in the 6th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart in Vedic astrology. So before beginning, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon and click the like button. And if you have any doubt after watching this video, please to mention it in my below comment section, okay? And yes, please to like and follow my Facebook community page Parikshith Astrology, where you can also post some astrological stuff and gain knowledge. So let's begin. So now, what do you mean by Navamsa chart or the D9 chart? See, Navamsa chart or the D9 chart is the second most important chart after your birth chart. It mainly gets activated after your married life or after your second half of your life, that is after 33 years or 36 years of your age. It is mainly seen for your strengthness of your planet. It is also seen for your relationship between you and your spouse. It is also seen for your married life or your marital life. Now, coming to the strengths of your planet. Now, let's say for example, if any planet is debilitated in your birth chart. Now, let's say for example, if Sun is debilitated in your birth chart and that planet Sun has been exalted in your Navamsa chart or the D9 chart, that shows that that planet Sun has gained extra strength or extra power. Now, coming to the married life. See, every individual divisional chart, including the main birth chart, has its own Karaka planet or the significator planet, right? So, let's say for example, in your birth chart, Sun is the Karaka planet or the significant planet, right? Likewise, in your Navamsa chart or the D9 chart, Venus is the Karaka planet or the significator planet. So, Venus should be placed in an exalted sign, Mool Trikon sign, own sign or in a friendly sign. That shows that your married life will be very good. Now, what does 6th house of the D9 chart or the Navamsa chart represents? It represents after your married life, whether you will have some disputes with your spouse or not, and it is also in for your daily routine after your married life, how it will be, whether it will be very good or bad. It is also seen for your loans, debts and all. Now, it is also seen for your enemies also, 6th house. Now, what happens when Rahu is sitting in the 6th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart? Now, what does planet Rahu represents? So, it is actually unorthodox planet. It is the planet which represents Maya, or it represents your own imaginary world. It also represents fame. It also represents illusionary fame. Now, if Rahu is sitting in the 6th house of D9 Navamsa chart, it shows that after a married life, you will be having more number of enemies. But even though if you are having more number of enemies, you will be able to defeat them. See, you need to check in which sign the Rahu is sitting in the 6th house of D9 Navamsa chart, and you need to check its dispositor. Now, suppose if Rahu is sitting in the Aries zodiac sign in the 6th house. Now, you need to check the dispositor of planet Rahu, that is Mars. If Mars is placed very well in the Kendra or in the Trikona in a very good sign, that too in an exalted sign, Mool Trikon sign or in an own sign, that shows that surely your Rahu is very good and you will be able to defeat your enemies. It also shows that you will be able to take very huge loan for a particular thing. Now, let's say for example, if you are building a house, you will be able to take loan for that house, and that too very big loan. And it also shows that you might not be able to clear that loan during the Mahadasha of Rahu or Antardasha of Rahu, if you are taking that loan during that particular Dasha of Rahu. Now, it also shows that during the Mahadasha or Antardasha of Rahu, you might fight with your spouse. So, these are all the things can be seen through when Rahu is sitting in the 6th house of D9 Navamsa chart. Now, what happens when Rahu is conjected with different planets? Now, suppose, let's say for example, if Rahu is conjected with planet Moon. Now, what happens when Rahu is conjected with planet Moon? Now, what does planet Moon represents? It represents your mind, it represents your emotion, it represents your mother. So, when Rahu and Moon are conjected in the 6th house of D9 Navamsa chart, it shows that after your married life, you might get addicted towards alcohol, cigarettes and all. And it also shows that your mother's health might get affected. It also shows that your subconscious mind or your presence of mind might feel disturbed sometimes during the Rahu Mahadasha or Moon Mahadasha or Antardasha of those planets. And it also shows that you love to fight with your enemies and win over them. So, these are all the things can be seen through when Rahu and Moon are conjected in the 6th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart. Now, what happens when Rahu is conjected with planet Venus? Now, what does planet Venus represents? It represents love, beauty, luxurious life. It also represents your vehicle. It also represents your spouse. When Rahu and Venus are conjected in the 6th house of D9 chart or Navamsa chart, it shows that after your married life, you love to fight with your spouse and win over your spouse. And it also shows that if it is placed very well in a beautiful sign, that shows that you will actually win over your spouse and you win over your enemy, and it also shows that you will go to the foreign place, and it also shows that here that materialistic desire. Now what happens when Rahu is conjuncted with planet Mercury? Now what does planet Mercury represent? It represents your intelligence, it represents your logical ability, it also represents business. So when Rahu and Mercury are conjunct in the 6th house of D9 navamsa chart, it shows that after your married life you may defeat your enemy with your intelligence, and it also shows that your business will grow rapidly after your married life during Rahu Dasa or Mercury Dasa especially. And it also shows that if you are invested in stock market, then you will get very great profit from that also. Now it should be placed in a very good sign, especially in an exalted sign, Multrikon sign, own sign, or in a friendly sign. Now what happens when Rahu is conjuncted with planet Jupiter? Now what does planet Jupiter represents? Jupiter represents immense knowledge, so it also represents teachers, advisors, gurus and all. Now when Rahu and Jupiter are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart, it shows that after a married life you will have some fight with you and your guru, teacher, or you will have some fight with your advisors or counselors, and it also shows that you will defeat your enemies through your knowledge, through your immense knowledge. Now it also shows that you will be having lot of financial debts and all, so you need to be very careful here. If Rahu and Jupiter are sitting in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart, you need to take some remedy. Now what happens when Rahu is conjuncted with planet Sun? Now what does planet Sun represents? It represents king, government, it also represents your father, it also represents your ego. So when Rahu and Sun are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart, it shows that your enemies can be working in your government job, or it also shows that your enemy can be your government, your opposite party if you are in politics, and it also shows that you might fight with your father after your married life, and it also shows that through your ego you might fight with your spouse. So these are all the things can be seen through when Rahu and Sun are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart. Now what happens when Rahu and Mars are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart? Now what does planet Mars represents? It represents properties, it also represents technical things or engineering fields. Now when Rahu and Mars are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart, it shows that after your married life you will be actually having some conflict through your properties, and you might be having some court cases between your properties and all. Some litigations will be there when Rahu and Mars are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 navamsa chart. It also shows that after your married life, if you are working in a job during the Rahu Madasa or Mars Madasa or even Antardasa of Rahu or Mars, you might get disturbed and there might be some lot of enemies also. And it also shows that if you are working in government job, you might be having some enemies in your office, so you need to be very careful. Now what happens when Rahu is conjuncted with planet Saturn? Now what does planet Saturn represents? Planet Saturn represents your older people, planet Saturn represents lazy, planet Saturn represents laziness, it also represents hardworking. When Rahu and Saturn are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart, it shows that after your married life you might be very hardworking person in your professional areas of life, and it also shows that there will be lots and lots of enemies will be coming through your life, and you have to struggle in your career or in your professional areas of life. So these are all the things can be seen through when Rahu and Saturn are conjuncted in the 6th house of D9 chart or navamsa chart. So this is it for today guys. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe below, or else I will see you in the next video, that is the Dasavsa series video. So if you are any consultancy, please do contact by given below WhatsApp number, or else you can even mail me also. So until and unless, thank you, bye bye, love you, take care.